second-guessed the job that you have and wondered, what the heck are you doing? Welcome to Ordinary Saints, where we're going to be talking about having that moment in your life and in your vocation through looking at your family as well. So this is not one of our seminarians. This is Sarah. She works at the church full-time, not just in the summer.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your role?
Yeah, so I am the director of modern music. My husband, Nick, and I have been on staff here for about a year and a half. And so I lead the awesome worship service and the modern worship service. I get to do all things modern worship here. So I love it.
That's great.
Yeah, super grateful.
And you've been here since January 2023.
Yeah, so about a year and a half.
So we just released one of your new music videos.
Yes.
It was so exciting, called Coming Home, which I think actually ties in really well with our theme, ordinary saints in our lives, and kind of surprisingly, so many of us, our ordinary saints, have been the people in our families.
Yeah, which is amazing and a huge gift for sure, and certainly is part of my story. So I grew up with my parents and my brother, and my parents actually met doing music stuff together. And when I was growing up, my dad, taught me how to play guitar. My mom taught me how to sing, how to harmonize, how to read music, and my brother and I both grew up to be musicians, so there was just a lot of music, but my parents were also in ministry for the majority of my life. My mom was a worship leader when I was growing up, and so that gift of musicianship with my brother and I was always, well taken care of by my parents, which is a huge gift. And my parents actually really encouraged me to study music in college, which is really rare, I found out, because I would talk to other music majors that I was friends with, and they would all talk about how their parents did everything they could to talk them out of majoring in music. And I was like, that was the first time I realized what a rare gift that was, that my parents saw that gift in me and said, you need to pursue that. And there was always, it was as if I saw the two different paths ahead of me, like two different lanes that I could walk in. And one was pursuing music and, writing my own songs and going out there and trying to make it as a musician. And then there was the path of ministry and leading worship. And over the years, I don't know exactly why or how this happened, but it was as if there was a hierarchy. And so the path of pursuing music full time was, well, if you make it in that, then obviously you'd choose that. And if you can't, then maybe you fall to the fallback of leading worship, which is a really sad way to look at it. But that had kind of gotten, my brain had gotten stuck in seeing it that way. And so
it's like instead of becoming the Olympic athlete, you're a gym teacher.
Right, yes, yes. That's the fallback. Yes, exactly. Or working at a church, because at least you still get to do music, but you can pay your bills. And so I moved to Austin after school and eventually met the man who's now my husband, who's one of my ordinary saints, if you will, because he had also studied music in college, was one of the most talented musicians, probably the most talented musician I'd ever worked with. And it was like I thought, I'm going to get us out of here. Like, we're going to get out of the church world. I'm going to rescue us, and we're going to go do music. And we're going to go reach our full potential doing that, because we've studied, we have the knowledge, we have the skills. We were really good at writing together, and instead we started leading worship together, and I started falling in love with the idea of bringing that excellence and that artistry to the worship world, whereas before I think I had thought of it in such a limited way of, well, you do worship, or you can go do excellence somewhere else and reach this full potential. And the way my husband and I fell into doing it, it was like bringing it all together to be like one glorious thing rather than separating them and having that dichotomy. And so eventually we got this opportunity to move to Nashville. And so it was the first time in my adult life that I wasn't working as a worship leader in some capacity. I was just working as a musician, and I was so miserable. I hated it. I hated the hustle. I hated, I just started to feel really, really empty. And, I'd written all these songs about, love and getting your heart broken, and all of them were great songs and things that I, at the time really cared about. And after X amount of gigs, which honestly was not that many in the grand scheme of things, I'm like, I'm so bored singing about this now. I don't care about this. I'm like, make this girl stop whining about her broken heart. Like, it's, let's move on. And I'm so thankful that we did that we had that stint there, because it got to show me, oh my gosh, I actually have this calling on my life for something deeper. And I've been so unbelievably lucky because I've gotten to lead all over the world, all different denominations, different ages. And when you're the worship leader, because of where you stand, it's like you have this front row seat to humanity's response to God. You get to watch them wrestle with God, celebrate with God, cry out to God. You know that they're grieving. You know that they're anxious about a scan they have that week, and you are getting to join them in that, but with this very visible, like, display of it. And so, yeah, all the things that I had a fear of missing out on, it's just been amazing how God ends up over redeeming things. Like, I wanted to write all these songs. Well, I do write all these songs, but now I primarily write songs for the church. Especially, we write songs for kids to sing, for families to sing. We also write songs that sometimes are not really designed for a corporate worship space, but God ends up providing some way for us to, do that song as an offering or record that music video. Like, it's just been amazing how I had put God in such a box of, I can either go this way or this lane, and God's like, I'm over all of it, and the gifts that I've given you, I want to use for things that are beyond yourself and your potential and building your little kingdom. I want to use you for my kingdom, and how rich that's been.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I was thinking when you were talking about not doing it by ourselves and having God be part of it, I imagine that's part of why you wanted to use that psalm in our video today. Unless the Lord builds a house, its builders labor in vain.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Just that image I love. So it's Psalm 127, unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. Unless the Lord guards the city, the guard keeps watch in vain. And just that idea that we're all at one point in our life trying to build our own little kingdom with our little toy hammers and our little toy tools, and the Lord's like, this will all crumble to nothing if I'm not a part of it, but my word stands forever. So partner with me and put your hand in your short little life to something that's going to last. And so I love the idea as a musician, as an artist, seeing myself as a meaning maker, a sense maker, if you will, like trying to, when I put my hand to the plow or pen
the
to
guitar.
the paper. Yeah, exactly. Like, am I helping, like that image of someone is in doubt, but I don't want them to stay there. I want to take my art and help it be something that helps propel them out of that. Obviously, like via the Holy Spirit, I do not have the power to do that. But if I am partnering with the Lord and He's building the house, He can allow my gifts to be a part of what He's doing. And it's something that lasts.
Like, it's kind of, I'm imagining, I was thinking of shoveling, which is a very Canadian image, but it's like if you were shoveling snow and your kid comes and is like helping you with it.
Yeah.
And, they're putting that small, tiny amount of weight. And your kids are still pretty small, so it's not a lot, but like they are being part of that motion with you.
And then they take pride in, like, my kids will help Nick water the lawn or do things outside, and it's like he absolutely could do it without them. He doesn't need them to do it. But then they get to like drive up and say, "Oh, look what we did. The grass looks good," And so that's a sweet little image for sure.
I think to wrap us up, could you just read the last little kind of 1 to 2 of that psalm to close us up.
So,
Verses 1 and 2.
unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. Unless the Lord guards the city, the guard keeps watch in vain. It is in vain that you rise up early and go late to rest, eating the bread of anxious toil, for he gives sleep to his beloved.
I think that's such a great way to wrap us up. Not just that we are invited into this work with God, but that he also grants us rest
Yes.
as his beloved after.
Great point.
So as you go into your week, may you help put your hand to the plow, and may you also rest in the knowledge of the fact that you are beloved. Thanks.